little point we were on about earlier, that like it's a different world now, football, isn't it? It's a completely different beast to what it was in your playing day, for sure. Like, how would you cope with things like social media and the sports science that goes behind it? Because the guys, they're like thoroughbreds now. It's like racehorses, isn't it?
Well, I think sometimes I look back and I think if we had that sports science and the nutrition that was coming in towards the end of my career, you know, I had to have like a Lucozade instead of a pint after me games, or several pints in the playing zone. But we were all like that. We were very, very fit. Don't get me wrong. We were all as fit as each other. But there's no getting behind it, no getting away from it. There was a drinking culture, you know, and we'd have a Tuesday club as much as every other team would, and we'd go out because we knew we were off on the Wednesday. All the lads would go out and we'd have a few pints and we'd have a good laugh. And then it started to come back in that you know, this nutrition and recovery. A pint was the worst thing that you could have after a football game, because you're already in dehydration. That dehydrated you even more. I often think, would I have been a better player? Would I have maybe would it have enhanced the way I played? I think probably it would, but I will never know. But like you say, they are thoroughbreds now. You know, and I got into that obviously with the management side of it. You know, fitness coaches, nutritional, everything, the psychology of the game. You know, and all that. I often do wonder whether I'd have been a better player for it. Probably yes.
I don't know if better is the word, but I think you'd see like a lot of the ex-pros would have less injuries. I think there'd be a lot more. I mean, the Man United guys are all in immaculate shape, but I think there'd be a lot less injuries, a lot more. You'd probably get another 5 years on the end of your career. I think it'd be that level as opposed to being a better player. Because, I mean, you could say it about like a Brian Robson. I don't think he could ever have been a better player. I think you might just got a bit more out of him and a few less injuries.
Yeah. But what you also have to think back to is the number of players in the squads as well. At those times, there wasn't 30 odd, there wasn't 33, 40 odd players in a squad that you could rotate. You know, when we got to the, I think that we got promotion or to the Littlewoods Cup final in 1990 at Oldham, we played something like 67, nearly 70 games, and it was crazy, you know. And at the end of that season, we just ran out of steam. We were playing 2 and 3 games a week, and that was because we only had 22, 23, 25 max players in the squad. So if you got 2 or 3 injuries, players were playing those 3 games a week. You know, we weren't training in between; we were just resting. So you know, it's. I think that the players not playing as many games now gives them a little bit of a more longevity, but also the benefits of this science around it has also, like you said, probably given them a little bit longer, and maybe has enhanced their careers and maybe made them better players in terms of fitness wise. They can last longer, maybe look better at the end of games. I don't know, but it would have been interesting to have had all that as a player when I was playing.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. I was speaking to Glyn Hodges the other day about it, about how it travels down the leagues as well, because obviously money dictates all this stuff. Like at Wimbledon, it's having to not fight as such, but they don't have the finances that an Arsenal have to do it. Do you know what I mean? So there's a whole other challenge there as well.
Yeah, there is. I mean, you know, the GPS things and all that, you know, and seeing how far they've run, I think it's made harder for players in terms of if you pull the player in and say you're not playing on Saturday. You know, when they didn't have all the GPS stuff, they could have said, well, what's your reasons, and maybe get around that way. I said, well, listen, you've only run 3.5 kilometres. What the hell? Everybody else is running 7.5. I've got it written down. It's on the computer. So you know, things like that have made it more difficult, but easier as well, maybe for managers to put things across.
True.
stats and stuff. I've never been a stat man, really. I've always tried to keep it to a footballing level, and say, look, you're not playing well enough at the moment, or you're not doing this. This is what I expect from you. I want you to be doing that, this and that and the other. You're not doing it, and give reasons that way. Not that you've only ran 3.5 kilometres instead of 7.
Yeah,
because I would have got
the
caught
emotional
out by
side.
that, no doubt about it. I'd have been the 3.5 kilometre man.
The thing is with that though, right? And in the job that I do, where I get to interview all you like former professional footballers, the best stories come from them Tuesday night clubs and the drinking culture and the lack of social media, as opposed to I know everything that every footballer does these days. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I want the stories of who was the biggest drinker, what kind of thing, like the Gazzers of this world, the Paul Mersons of this world. They're the best stuff, aren't they? Like those memories where there's no evidence, I'm sure, mean more to you than whether you ran 3K or 7K.
Of course they do. I mean, I think what helped us get to where we did, the promotion at Barnsley was my assistant manager and physio, Rick Holden, who I played with at Oldham, and my other staff. We all valued a camaraderie and team spirit, and the players took into that. They were very much. It was very similar to what we had at Oldham, and we talked about that quite a lot, me and Rick, because we were in the midst of that. And yes, there wasn't any social media. You could get away with things that you couldn't get away with now. And we certainly did, in terms of going out and having a drink and things happening, in pubs and what went on. And I'm sure that there's that happened at a lot of football clubs. I dread to think what happened at Wimbledon and stuff, places like that. But we played. We were such good mates on the pitch. Off the pitch made us even better on the pitch, because we would run through a brick wall for each other. Absolutely. Because of that team spirit that we had off the pitch. And that's what I mean. Joe Royal just had such a great way of balancing that out, in terms of knowing what he would allow us to do, and then step on us when he knew we'd got out of line a little bit. And he had spies all over the place, Joe. He knew what we were doing, and it was great, because he really gave us that little bit of a leash. And I think we did that a little bit at Barnsley, and it paid off for us.
Absolutely. So I've got to ask you, Andy, who was the biggest drinker in your time?
Oh,
there must be a name.
Biggest drinker. It certainly wasn't me. I liked a bevy, but it definitely wasn't me. Specific drinker. Oh God, I can't out anyone, can I? At Oldham, there was one or two, to be fair. Rick liked to drink, and I think he would say to me that he was one of the ones that could handle a few pints, but I wouldn't like to say he was the biggest drinker. I'll say
fair enough,
but it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
You sit on the fence, Andy. That's fine. You play political. That's fine, mate.
Yeah.